Hello and welcome to the Ars Electronica Center here in our deep space, the heart of our Ars Electronica Center, a place where we usually provide really inspiring experiences to our audiences, but a place that is also perfectly suited to bring information about our latest activities. And today we will inform you about the results of the STARTS Prize, this really wonderful initiative of the European Commission, a prize, international award competition that is given to projects that have a strong power and are strong role models for this inspiration that can grow out of the collaboration between art, creativity, design areas on the one side and industry, technology and economy and business on the other side. A program that has many different aspects and is, I think in particular, so successful because it has a wonderful network of partner institutions. The details about the STARTS initiative and the prize before we go to the presentation of the winning projects will now be delivered by my colleague Veronika Liebl, who is most responsible for the success of this project as well. Please, thank you.
Thank you, Gerfried. And I would also like to cordially welcome you on behalf of our partner institutions. We are since many years now implementing this STARTS Prize together with Waag in Amsterdam in the Netherlands and also Bossade Center for Fine Arts in Brussels, one of the most important cultural houses and hubs in Europe. New to the consortium are also the Frankfurt Book Fair with their program Strand Arts Plus, French Tech, a French association for startup promotion, and T6 from Italy and Innova Plus from Portugal, two innovation companies who are actually bringing then the STARTS Prize and also their methodologies, their way of acting, thinking and working to industry and research organizations. And this bridge, this connection is precisely what it's called for in STARTS. STARTS is an initiative from the European Commission to really single out this innovation at the nexus of arts, science and technology. Since many years, it is completely impossible to think and imagine the development of innovative processes without the culture and creative industries. And since 2015, this was also systematically addressed by the European Commission, in particular the Horizon 2020 program, by really involving artists systematically and also the whole creative profession, I would say, in innovation programs, particularly also with a strong focus on social and environmental aspects. Also at the time, the program was a concrete response to previous evaluations from research funding programs where many high-tech companies and also industry representatives really called for creativity and artistic thinking. So in addition to technological and scientific skills and knowledge, they really called for these new dimensions of knowledge and thinking. In particular to make innovation not only happen, but also above all to be of value for our society. In addition to the core idea of involving artists as catalysts, as innovation resource, also in innovation projects and programs, the STARTS program and initiative has some very specific goals. Primarily, of course, to contribute really to competitiveness, to social innovation and also sustainability for both large industry as well as small and medium-sized enterprises. But also the STARTS program aims really to illustrate how artists can increase research and technology literacy. So the understanding of us all in a way, also in particular on information and communication technologies, and by doing so also maybe build new pillars, new forms of education, in particular in the digital field. Artists, of course, approach topics quite often from the viewpoint of users, and by doing so also trigger important stakeholder involvement processes, co-creation processes, and also citizen participation processes. Currently, there are more than 140 organizations all over Europe working on such STARTS projects, on research, on, of course, also presenting excellent examples of starts through, for example, residency projects, through research pilots, educational activities, and also regional hubs, which also Linz is part of this network. Ars Electronica is currently actively involved in 3 of the projects. First and foremost, and also the reason why we're here today, the STARTS Prize. The STARTS initiative, started also with the STARTS Prize, is also the only project which really, without any interruptions, was funded and showcased since 2016. Currently, it's funded with a total of 2 million euros from the Horizon 2020 program of the European Commission for the period of from 2021 to 2023. And also on behalf of Ars Electronica, big thanks to our funders and, of course, partners, the European Commission, for this. We, of course, are quite happy that since the very beginning of the STARTS Prize, Ars Electronica was the one also issuing this prize competition, this year for the 6th consecutive year. In total, we have selected in these 6 years 178 best practice projects from more than 10,000 submissions in total. The STARTS Prize itself honors really this outstanding and most forward-looking collaborations between arts and culture on the one side and the industry and research area on the other side. But it's not only showcasing these really outstanding collaborations, it also calls for, I would say, artistic exploration with technologies and the role how artists can actually contribute also to a change in the use, in the perception, but also in the application of technologies. The open call for the STARTS Prize was being held in parallel with the Prix Ars Electronica, so projects could be submitted to both competitions, and for the STARTS Prize, we, in addition to the open call, also had a pool of advisors who were handing over some nominations to us. They also had to then go the full submission process, but for us also as an organization, it is extremely important to get a huge variety of projects, also viewpoints, of course, different sectors, different represented technologies, countries, different kinds of types of collaborations represented, which is so characteristic. So this broadness, this big diversity is a huge asset of the STARTS Prize. Through this submission process, we received a total of 1,564 submissions from 96 countries in 2021. And here, the biggest thanks to probably the toughest job in STARTS Prize 2021 to our really fantastic, experienced expert jury who, despite, again, of course, an online jury meeting, really dedicated and devoted themselves for going through a massive amount of projects, of course, also already in advance to the 3 days online jury. Among the jury members this year were, for example, Alexandra Deschamps-Sonsinot, an author, consultant, and entrepreneur in the field of Internet of Things with a background in industrial and interaction design. She is one of the most important European Internet of Things experts. Nicola Triscott from FACT. She is the director of FACT since 2019. FACT is the Center for Film, Art and Creative Technologies in Liverpool. And before that, she was actually founding director and CEO of Arts Catalyst, one of the UK's most high profile, I would say, and also respected arts and research organizations. Alexander Mankowski, who joins the jury since the very beginning, is a futuralist of Daimler, and he works currently on topics including also future studies that address the ever-changing culture of mobility, the interrelations of social and technological innovation, and also other aspects related to possible path to the future. Yumi Yamasaki was new this year to the jury. She is a senior marketing manager of Niantic Japan. Fumi works on marketing for products such as Pokemon Go and Harry Potter, and she was also previously part of the Google Social Impact team on Google Crisis Response to help communities affected by natural disasters. And Last but not least, a name you probably know already quite often, also member of the Stars Prize jury, Francesca Bria. She is the president of the Italian National Innovation Fund and honorary professor of the Institute for Innovation and Public Purpose at UCL in London. She is also the senior advisor to the United Nations on Digital Cities and Digital Rights. She leads the Decode project on data sovereignty in Europe and is a member of the European Commission's high-level expert group on the economic and societal impact on research and innovation. So I guess we could all hear it. We could not have a better expert jury to actually select our 2 grand prize winners of 2021, including also the 10 honorary mentions and 18 nominations. The 2 grand prizes, they both will receive the Stars Prize trophy, and of course, both of them also a prize money of 20,000 euros. And I'll hand back also to my colleague Gerfried, who will introduce the winning projects.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, the prize trophy of the Stars Award is a creation by artist Nick Erving from Belgium, who specifically created this trophy for this award. I think the best way to give you really a good overview of not only the projects that were nominated, awarded and selected, but also to give you an idea why we are so excited about this broad variety of collaborations of people from so many different areas contributing their ideas and their projects, is to really mention briefly to each of the projects that was selected and with each of the projects what it's about and point out the special focus. And I'll try to do this in a most compact form. So let's start with the nominations. 18 nominations have been selected and made it into the finals. There is a project like Shapes and Letters, a computer game that deals with the issues of racism and sexism. There's the project FaceLab, which deals with facial analysis, face recognition, the limits, problems of face recognitions, but also how you can fool it, how you can trick it. Genetics Gym is a project that deals with the optimization of human body with technology. Olfactory Biopolitics, a project that deals with cultural diversities and cultural appropriation and global injustice with an example of a project that relates Netherlands and Nairobi. In Event of Moon Disaster is a very ironic play with the hype of fake news and conspiracy theories, and it puts up the question, what would have happened if actually the moon landing in '69 didn't work out and it might have been fake then, and they put this really in a very nice ironic scenario. So far, the Skies Are Silent is a great collaboration between arts and sciences, where artists are using an AI system to listen to the signals of radio telescopes, transform this into music and into live stage performances. Para Optiv 8 is about the extension of human senses and capabilities through new interfaces, and thus pushing the borders of our understanding of what virtual reality actually could mean beyond just a visual simulation. Glaciers Lament uses data from melting glaciers and converts it into music and dance performances. Extendable Ears translates the ultrasonic frequencies that we cannot hear with our human eyes into hearable noise and allows us in a very also playful way to hear our environment, for example, like dogs and cats do. Loveware is a prototype of smart underwear as a futuristic sex toy and the possibility for daily intimacy for people who are separated on different places. Silencing the Virus is a sound installation about the decline of honeybees, the reasons behind it, and the impact it has on us humans. Micromythologies is a great project in the field of speculative artistic research that puts up this whole topic of the role of mushrooms in history and medicine, but in particular addresses the questions of possibilities of this species and this material for future design and technology. In a Small Room is a project that not only puts up the theme of the very problematic situations of young people who live in the crowded urban areas of Korea, South Korea, where they have only very, very small rooms as apartments, but it also puts very nicely this difference between the way how they are advertised in the media and actually the very disappointing reality. Constructing Connectivity is a project about e-textiles, smart clothing, and tries to envision and develop a prototype where this kind of smart clothing could really help people in their rehabilitation after a stroke. Symbiosia explores 3-to-3 communication and conversation, puts sensors on the trees, around the trees, and transforms the vital data of the trees into a fictitious annual rings of these trees. The Uncertain Four Seasons takes the music of Vivaldi, the famous Four Seasons that everybody knows, and uses an AI system to transform the score of this music based on data from climate change. And then a real orchestra from the Elbphilharmonie in Hamburg performed the music. The Clean Room Paradox is a project that in a very critical way deals with the very unhealthy and problematic working situation of people in the big chip factories where all our computer gadgets are coming from, in particular with the Samsung factory. And their Tube is a project that allows us to look behind the curtains of recommendation engines and marketing mechanisms, in particular of YouTube, and what you actually can do is to try out how YouTube looks for you if you would be a different person. The honorary mentions that the jury was giving away, there are 10 honorary mentions, are equally spread out in these ranges, and you see already there are of course certain focal points where the attention of the artists, but of course also the attention of the jury members was going at. There is the project A Lighter Delicacy that deals with food waste, ecology, and use of the meaningful use of resources, and it converts actually chicken feathers into nice tasting delicacies. And when you think that about 2.3 million tons of feather waste are produced annually only from the poultry production in the European Union, I think you can estimate actually really the relevance of experiments like this. Cloud Studies is from the very famous forensic architects who also got a big prize at the Ars Electronica, and is dealing with not only the human rights, but again how you can utilize new technologies to make sure that violations against human rights are precisely identified, and that you can gather the data that you need also to take action against these violations. Data Garden, Grow Your Own Cloud, is one of these nice projects on the borderline between speculative artistic research and real, so to say, technological research, and explores the possibilities to store these enormous amounts of data that we are producing every day, to store them not on silicon chips, but to put them into the DNA of living plants. 11 Play Border 21 is a wonderful artistic project exploring really in a superb artistic way the hybrid space. And what do we actually mean when we now so often talk about this hybridity between online and reality, between virtuality and reality? And of course, this is a new dimension also of our social space that can be perfectly explored with artistic means. Meet Me is again a project on this borderline of speculative artistic research and actually ongoing research in the biotechnology labs of our planet. And Theresa Schubert here in a very, I think, provocative but sincere way is working on converting and growing her own body cells into eatable meat. On View is a project that is one of these great examples, mixing virtual reality, artificial intelligence, audience participations to create a very interesting and strong environment dealing with the topics of data economy. And Project Habitat is working with bio-based materials that are replacing the ecosystem of ash trees that are dying out because of certain diseases, but with them not only the trees are vanishing, but also the ecosystem that is necessary for many, many organisms to survive, and they are replacing this now with a kind of artificially created ecosystem based on bio-based material. The same direction is growing pavilion. Again, bio-based materials, but here on a large scale to really create architectural structures like a pavilion. The Living Light tries to convert organic waste into sustainable energy sources. The design of lamps, actual lamps, that really can use this experimental technology is in the core of this project. And finally, there's the project that Dies Within Us from the mixed reality specialists of Marshmallow Laser Feast. They have been teaming up here with the Fraunhofer organization in Germany, in particular with MEWIS, where it's all about medical visualization. And here, the wizards of both sides of science and arts are creating a wonderful experience for the audiences. And I think this really shows not only the wonderful inspirational work of the artists and the project, but a very important point that I would like to put out here again for the idea behind the Stats Prize. I mean, it is about honoring innovations in the fields also of industry, technology, business that are inspired by the arts. But when we talk about innovations here, we don't mean innovative products that can go out on the market. We don't mean the next killer application when you are providing digital services. Because these kind of innovations, industry and business can do anyway alone. But what it's here about is to understand innovation really as this type of inspiration that gives us the possibility to get to new ideas, to get to new perspectives, and to see also alternatives way how to apply these technologies to not only create in a simple way a better world, but really to tackle the very big problems that we are facing ahead of us. And of course, the big topic is all the implications that we have to face and deal with because of the climate change that we are generating in this Anthropocene and with the work that we are doing as human society. And I think both projects that will be awarded with the Stats Prize 21 are a perfect example for this. The first one that I would like to introduce is the Grand Prize for Artistic Exploration. Veronika mentioned it. It's a very important thing to really look at it. How can this special point of view, this perspective of artistic thinking, how can this introduce also new and alternative ways to understand problems, to deal with problems, and to tackle them? And the project is Oceans in Transformation. Territorial Agency, John Balmisano and Anne-Sophie Rungskök, and we have a very nice video that is perfectly explaining the project.
Territorial Agency has been investigating the Anthropocene, the age of the transformation of the planet, for about past decade or more, trying to contribute to the amount of knowledge produced by various scholars about this particular age and the transformations it brings about. Oceans in Transformation is an attempt to unravel the mechanisms of transformations on the planet from an oceanic point of view, meaning looking at the Anthropocene from the oceans. So the question they are posing initially is, how can we sense, how can we make understand the transformations of the oceanic, whereas the ocean is an area that is invisible, that doesn't afford us a view into its body, if you want. So what instruments, what possibilities of knowing do we have in order to develop an image of the oceans and its transformation? One. And secondly, how can we bring together the various ways of knowing, the various sciences, investigations, data collected on the ocean, so that they form a body of knowledge and are syncretized as one coherent story of the ocean. And in order to do that, they have both developed an aesthetic representation. These are the fields of images and compositions that you see behind me, but also a conceptual repertoire that is very important for us to understand, because it is the ideas, the understanding, the ways of knowing that perhaps also lead us to a better safeguarding of the ocean in our future.
So I think it's not only a wonderful project on its own, but also a very good example of this transformative power I was trying to explain before, how the artistic involvement in these topics can really create a new level of understanding, a new perspective. And this installation is based on scientific data from many research stations that are collecting data of oceans, environments, and all these kind of things. And of course, we can just simply display them in numbers and figures and usual mathematical diagrams. But what we are not achieving with this is to let this really getting close to our emotions, to our understanding, and to the possibility to really create a relationship between us as acting humans in this Anthropocenic development and the huge complex interactions that we have with our environment, with nature. And I think this is really a perfect example for what the STARTS initiative of the European Commission wants to achieve. The second grand prize is for innovative collaboration, and I think basically all the projects that I also presented you before in the nominations and honorary mentions are only possible because of a very strong, rich and diverse collaboration of many actors. And this is one of the new paradigms of working together and to foster this collaboration, in particular on a transdisciplinary way between the world of art, design and creativity and the world of technology, science and business on the other side. This is the core of the second grand prize for innovative collaboration that goes to an innovative idea, an innovative project, and in particular a really wonderful situation of collaboration. Remix El Barrio, Food Weight Biomaterial Makers. A very interesting title. Let's see what's behind this project.
Mi nombre es Diego Miguel Ortiz. Participé en el proceso de co-creación facilitado por el Fab Lab de Barcelona, aquí en el barrio de Poblenou, y forma parte de Remix El Barrio. Remix El Barrio es un colectivo de diseñadores de biomateriales hechos con restos alimenticios. Estamos explorando nuevas técnicas de ecodiseño colaborativo que involucra redes locales, fomentando prácticas circulares de residuo cero. Estamos transformando los restos de comida en nuevos materiales, productos y servicios, haciendo papel y envases a partir de residuos de cáscara de café, creando lámparas, sillas y macetas originales a partir de huesos de aceituna, cáscara de huevo, mate, diseñando una chaqueta hecha con pieles de naranja, creando tintes naturales a partir de huesos de aguacate, jabones a partir de aceite usado, galletas y snacks para vecinos o animales a partir de las mermas de restaurantes. La ecocreación es un eje fundamental del colectivo Remix El Barrio. Hoy ya no pensamos en la idea de un autor, sino en el intercambio de prácticas y divulgación de conocimientos mediante las expertas del Fab Lab. Estamos unidos en torno a los valores de la cooperación local, la solidaridad, las nuevas formas de artesanía y la circularidad, aquí en Barcelona.
What if in the following years food waste will become our new treasure? Inspired by Remix El Barrio, from Fab Lab Barcelona and IAAC Poblenou, Barcelona's neighborhood has shaped a circular ecosystem with restaurants, citizens and new fabrication community places. How does it work? It is simple, the circular system, starting from collecting waste from restaurant, transported via cargo bike, pre-processing waste, designing, crafting and micro-manufacturing of products, redistributing them in local marketplaces, urban gardens, or even directly to restaurants. In 2030, this practice has inspired many other places. Each neighborhood functions as a point of transformation of waste into biomaterials, as a place of meeting and cooperation between designers and artisans building knowledge and products, recipes, knowledge and practices are shared in the other barrios of Barcelona, other cities and places in the world. Become a food waste material maker. Learn by making. Think about proximity and local consumption. Care, craft the future, now.
Well, just imagine the pure fun to develop all these ideas and explore it and try it out, and then having a great network of collaborators that you can really make the next step beyond the PowerPoint and a nice video presentation of your ideas, really make it reality. And this was, of course, one of the convincing points for the jury. I think it's in terms of collaboration, we see here one of the big players is the Fab Lab Barcelona. Another one is the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia, and of course many people, many local initiatives, restaurants, and different type of people in this area. So it's in particular Anastasia Pistofido, Marion Real, and the remixers at Fab Lab Barcelona in collaboration with the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia that we are congratulating not only to these inspiring ideas, but of course also to getting one of the Starts Prize Awards in 2021. And we also not only congratulate all these participants and artists, but we put out a very big thank you, because your projects will be a very strong part that we can use to put together our festival that will take place this year in September. And I would like to ask again Veronika to tell us how we are going to transform this in a great experience for our audiences.
Yes.
Please.
Absolutely. We are very much looking forward, of course, to welcome all the projects to a great variety of projects also here in Linz and online. So not all of the projects will be presented on site, but a great variety of them will be invited also here to the Kepler's Garden, our main exhibition venue, again this year during the festival. But all of you and all of the online visitors won't miss out either at all, I would say. So there will be a lot of also online presentations. Many of the projects will be presented also in an online exhibition of Starts. And it is really great to have again a fantastic pool of partners in our network, our satellites, our Ars Electronica Gardens, who will actually co-organize this festival edition again with us as last year as well. So it will be a mix of many different partners, also Starts protagonists, sharing with us the duty and the joy of hosting this festival edition. Among of the many other partners, in particular from the Starts field, we have a couple of Ars Electronica Gardens which I want to mention today. For example, the University of Creative Arts in London, Meet, the Digital Culture Center in Milan, supported also by Caripolo Foundation. Then Mindspaces is actually a whole Starts consortium dedicated primarily also to the research topics of public space, and they will also share one garden. Then Wach, our partner in the Starts Prize, will host one of the gardens. And of course, it's also a pleasure and joy for us to have one of our sister consortium, actually also based here in Linz, from Creative Region Linz and Upper Austria, the project Reframe, also working strongly on the intersection of fashion and technology. They will also host a garden. And due to the success also from last year, we were going to host again a series of online workshops. The registration for those will start in mid of August, and they will be actually hosted both by artists as well as research organizations. Aside of this and on top of this, we, as always, will organize the STARTS Day. Day full of conferences, discursive programs, discussion panels, a couple of workshops as well. We will also link there to the new European Bauhaus initiative, an initiative from the from Ursula von der Leyen, and we are going to make also some links between the topics and strands of the new European Bauhaus initiative to STARTS. In addition to this, and if this is not enough for you, you will have plenty of opportunities also to look into the STARTS projects, the results, ideas, and the way artists are working all over the course of autumn. The STARTS Prize exhibition will then also travel to Brussels to our dear partners Beaux-Arts, the Center for Fine Arts. They will also showcase after the Ars Electronica Festival an exhibition in their venues. And then the tour even continues to the Frankfurt Book Fair and its Arts Plus program, where for the very first time actually they also organize and host a full day dedicated to STARTS. The book fair runs from October 20 to 24th. Please also stay tuned on all of this. We will of course share more information and briefings within the next weeks and month on all of these events, for sure. With this, I actually want already to say goodbye today to all our watchers on the stream. And we will, of course, stay here for any questions for the press. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.